been there the whole time. Just keep looking up and open up your eyes. Don't get lost in a crowd. You were made to stand out. The Wonder Creative Podcast.
I've actually been like so excited. Whenever I started the podcast, I was like, you guys were already, I could pull up the document where it's like list of people I want to have on the podcast, and you guys were on there. Hey everybody, welcome back to the podcast. I am with two people that I love so much and just inspire me so much. They are Jason and Noelle Cosby, and they own a business here in Covington, Georgia called Lily Sparrow. And we had a project together last year whenever they rebranded. And so today is just an opportunity for us to sit down and just like get to know you and share your heart with about like what you do. And you know, we're just going to get into all of it, of course. You guys have always inspired me. And I remember the first time when I came to Awake, whenever you guys were obviously in the other building, and Asher was just little. Like, I have a video. You guys had an event there. There was somebody performing, and like it was like there's a lot of people in there. But I remember meeting you, and I was like, she seems like she really knows what she's doing. Like, she's like a businesswoman. Like, you know, and you kind of intimidated me a little bit. I don't know why, but anyway, you know, like for me as a solopreneur, it's like, you know, I'm really the only thing that I have to worry about, you know, and my clients. And it's like, you guys have so much going on and you're just like constantly evolving. And obviously there's been so many changes with Lily and Sparrow. So thanks so much for taking the time to do this. And as I was saying, like, you guys just greatly inspire me. So I'm excited to just talk. But if you want to just go ahead and introduce yourselves.
So I'm Noelle, and Cosby is my last name because I married him. And let's see, who am I really? So first and foremost, I'm a wife. That's like the biggest deal to me, is being a great partner for Jason, and my mom. So I have adult children, 28, 23, and 23 at the moment. They're not real twins, they're Irish twins. And then we have a beautiful little 10-year-old that we love so much. So that's who I am first. And then I'm also the owner, curator, and creator of Lily and Sparrow Mercantile. So that's my title in the biz.
I'm pretty much the same, except the wonderful dad version of all of that stuff there. I think that they call me head of coffee, I guess is the best way to put it, because I kind of do all things coffee. And I think I found my love for coffee more than like the business aspect of things and running the business, although I do that on a daily basis. I think more of who I am is in the coffee. A lot of it. I enjoy sitting around a table having a cup of coffee. And so anytime I get to do that, I think I'm at my most perfect who I am.
Yes. Yeah. You guys have gone through a lot of evolution, I feel like, in the last how many years? 3 years?
Yeah,
mostly.
I think we really started to feel a shift like a couple years ago, probably the last 3 years.
Yeah.
And we didn't know where we would end up in that process, but we were really open to allowing ourselves to go through a process of kind of reforming. You know, we've been in the coffee industry and before Lily and Sparrow, it was coffee and community. And it was a nonprofit. It was all under a nonprofit organization. And so our heart was like build relationships. We did a lot with helping homeless community in our area where we lived. We were able to, we had an internship where we were working with like youth and young adults. And we did a lot of really fun, exciting things. And then we just really started falling deeper in love with coffee. So where it was originally coffee gets people in the door so that we can build relationships, we started this like love story with coffee and started to fall in love with like the art of coffee. And, you know, the transition has been very different for us. You know, our background is ministry. That was our background. So we thought that would be a really cool like way to do that. And, you know, after the last 3 years, we've had some really amazing conversations with so many people, but really our spiritual fathers Mark has been like such a huge influence in our lives because he's sat down with us and was like, hey, you know, you guys are amazing at coffee. Like, why don't you just do that?
Yeah.
And so that's really where the transition kind of came into play, was we realized that that's our love is the art of coffee, and then the art of conversation and creativity.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of where the inspiration for the transition started.
Yeah, it's funny how you can say that, because it's like, it was when we first started, it was very different. It was, things started around a table with different cups with people having cups of coffee. I mean, our whole conversation started there. And then we went and talked to a couple of roasters, and we're trying to learn how to do coffee and stuff like that. And really, one of them that was really generous to us with their time and stuff, and I don't mind even saying it, Safe House Coffee Roasters in Griffin. They're absolutely amazing.
Okay.
Amazing.
And they helped us tremendously learn about coffee. But one of the things that they said to us sitting in there was like, you guys do people really well, but you don't know coffee. So why don't you just do people really well, and we'll do your coffee for a while.
Yeah.
And we were like, that makes so much sense. Thank you.
And it worked out really well for a while.
It gave us so much time to learn people and learn how to.
And we didn't know coffee.
Yeah, and we didn't know coffee at all when we first began this whole process. And so I think, and now we're on the other side of that. Now we feel like we know people really well, and we know how to build relationship, where we were learning that we love people extraordinarily. I think we do.
It shows.
And but now we have just discovered this warm, inviting, comfortable place with coffee, which is what you just said, what you think of, and it just screams home to us.
Yeah.
And so when we started thinking of home, what was home but all the things now that we have here?
Yeah.
You know, and that was that transition led us from, I think I can say, the busyness of what it was, which was just trying to figure out how everything, who we were and what it was and where coffee played and all of these different things. I think a big transition was just finding home.
Business is hard.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We can really talk about it, because
It's
I've had a
work,
time
dude.
this week, guys. I've had a time. It's been one of those, I'm going to burn it all down this week.
Yeah, no, trust me, I've had those many times.
I'm not burning it down. I'm not.
We're not actually burning it down. But there's, I think for us, we started as a small little cute coffee house. Mom and pop is what everybody called it. A mom and pop coffee house. It was cute. It was great. And then we got this big building. Then we thought, oh, we're going to move it up. And then we had to realize we had to pay for that big building and fill that big building. And then a pandemic happened. And there was no way that we could really sustain that.
Yeah.
And we found ourselves on the other side of it, miserable. And our marriage was not healthy.
Everything suffers when you're not happy.
Yeah.
In
Our kids'
when you're not doing
relationships
what you
just-
love.
Right.
Because we love our family. We love family, and we love each
Our
other.
kids
Yeah.
are
We
growing up
even
and stuff.
found ourselves in a place where we were like, I don't
even know.
know what's wrong, but I don't really like you.
Yeah. Oh
And
yeah.
I want to.
Yeah.
I love you,
Yeah.
but we couldn't even have 5 words with each other without getting angry. And it was the busyness.
Yeah. And see, I obviously run my business just me. Aaron's not really, I mean, he is a part of it,
Right.
because like, he's like my sounding board. He's my support, but he's not like in it. So like, I can't even imagine like what that would be like running a business with my husband, or with my family, I'm not saying I think one day Aaron and I will own a business together where it will be more of us together. So we'll venture off into that.
Sure.
And I think there's glory in that. Like, I think that, but it takes work, it takes a different kind of work. For me, like being a solopreneur and doing this all on my own, there's a unique work there. And then I'm sure doing it together, there's a more unique work, doing it together. Whenever you guys were doing everything with Awake, when you were unhappy, at what point did you step back and be like, do we need to keep doing this? Like, because I think sometimes whenever you are doing, you were there for a long time.
I mean,
10 years.
we've been working in this industry and doing not just the industry, coffee, people, all of it for 10 years.
Yeah. So 10 years,
Yes.
I'm sure in your brains, you're like, well, this is what we're doing. Like, it just becomes a part of you, because at some point you had to step back and be like, is this actually working? Like, do we make a change? So like, what was like that point
I think you should start that.
where you kind of like put it on the table, I guess?
Yeah.
Okay, so I was like, what do they call it when you're you have like 3 different jobs, but they're all in corporate. Like, I don't know how to explain it.
I don't know that many people had 3 different jobs all in corporate, but
A lot of my busyness stemmed because I was working full-time job and trying to launch a coffee shop at the same time that we were trying to do everything else.
Yeah.
And I was in ministry, and I was doing worship, and I was doing this, and I was doing that. And so it's like this. But in order to live, I do things that I probably shouldn't have done for free that I did for free for multiple years. Then this whole transgression, or this whole
that's what it felt like.
it felt like a
transgression.
this whole transition took forever.
Yeah.
Honest to goodness.
Yeah.
I thought I was going to lose my mind. It took so long.
Yeah.
And I think most of it was my own hard-headed entrepreneur. I'm going to do this thing.
Yeah.
And not so much of, wait, am I supposed to be doing this thing? I never questioned that. I just always looking for answers to the problem.
Yeah.
You know? And so I think that changed right before the pandemic. That changed.
Okay.
Because I felt like I was being led by the Lord to leave all other businesses and sell our other business. I had a digital marketing business. Sell the digital marketing business or give it away. It's actually what I was told. And then be seated in coffee. That's all I'd heard. That I didn't know if that meant run the coffee shop. I didn't know if that meant do the roastery. I didn't know anything. I just know that the answers were going to come when I was just seated in coffee. Finally.
Yeah.
And so I think that we did that. And then we lost all of our income for the next 11 months. That's almost exactly what happened.
Well,
it was so
I don't
close.
think it wasn't that drastic, but it was very tight every single month.
Yeah.
And then, I think what happens too when you have a business, and there's also, trusting other people and having other people involved. And, we had some issues with things even in that area where we had to have really hard conversations with certain people and, where money wasn't being allocated. Like, you have to, when you're in business like this, even if it's ministry based, like, that's sweet and all. And it was amazing. And I am not downplaying that at all. We saw God do so many incredible things,
Of course.
but we felt a cap on everything we did.
Like there was a ceiling that we couldn't get past.
There was a ceiling, and I think a lot of it was communication. Like, how do you say, "Oh, we're a nonprofit. Oh, but we have a coffee shop, and we want you to buy coffee to help us fund the nonprofit." And people do that, and I think it's great. But it was for us. We were so involved in like the business community with the Chamber of Commerce, with so many other avenues, that for us, we just kept hitting a ceiling. And I thought, so he starts going through this process, and it was hard for me. Because it was emotional. It was less emotional for him. It was way more emotional for me. This is, when we started Awake, I was there. It was me.
Yeah.
I was the one opening the shop. I was the one working with the interns. I was leading the entire ship at that point, and with some other great leaders. And then in 2019, we bought this building. We thought we were going to have a ministry school alongside of the coffee house, and the Lord was like, "No, we're not doing that. We're not doing that." And okay. And so for me, the whole process was extremely difficult and very emotional. And then, when we really got the big building that we've had, some of our key leaders felt to leave and start their businesses. And I mean, we celebrated, like we were excited, but it left a hole.
Yeah.
So for me, it was really emotional, actually having to deal with all of the transition.
Yeah.
But I think for me, when I really realized this is it, is when, I saw my husband starting to really come alive, roasting coffee and helping other communities like ours.
Literally getting back there and just making coffee.
And really,
my favorite thing to do is Monday morning, come in, be the first person to open the shop and make coffee on Monday mornings. It literally is my absolute
and water
favorite
the
thing in
plants.
world. And water the plants.
So there's a big difference between having a job and owning a business and doing what you're made to do.
Yes.
So coffee
Say that.
Coffee is what this man is made to do coffee.
Yeah.
Years and years of our lives, 20 years of our marriage, he would dream about having a roll-up door. Like, I want a business with a roll-up door. I want to make something. And I'm trying not to cry. Holy cow.
But this is one of the roll-up doors. I think you see on camera.
Yeah, I don't know.
There's
if you can see the
for
camera.
people that are watching, there's a door in front of us and a door over there, but then there's for people that are listening. Wait, what did I just say?
Yeah, you were good. People that are watching, people that were listening, you did good.
Okay, and then if you're listening, yes, they have 2 roll-up doors in their new space. I
Yeah,
guess I
I mean-
should have said that before. We're in their new space right now.
We are in the new space, yeah.
Yeah.
We would just dream about these little things like, oh, well, these roll-up doors. And he wanted to make something. And I saw him, well, even in our other location, there was a roll-up door in the bigger building. And it was just like those little things that are in your heart that make you come alive for some reason, having a roll-up door. And I think it was just the idea of being able to manufacture and putting your hands to something. But when I saw him doing that and I saw him start coming alive and he made this decision to like, I'm going to get in my garden in the place where I was made to work. It's kind of how we think of that. And he started the first day doing that. And I was there and I watched this man go, I'm going to go water the plants because I am in my garden and I'm going to take care of it. And he began to take care of the plants in the store. We had lots of plants. Several of them are here with us now that have moved with us. Gertrude's in the corner. She's a beautiful tall tree. We love her. And so we've had these plants and we have peace lilies in the store. And that kind of played into the transition of us going from Awake to Lily and Sparrow that we are now. And the big thing about that is I think that had to happen so our identity could be solid. And I think I can't even tell you how amazing it's been since we've done our rebrand and with you that we have identity.
Yeah.
Where before we had this generic idea and we could communicate it.
Yeah.
And now it's super easy to talk about who we are now. And but it was just sweet. So it was like, watching him do that, he came alive and I went, okay, I need to take these emotions.
Yeah.
I need to deal with them.
Yeah.
I need to process them and I need to begin to celebrate this new season.
Yes.
And so I think that's when everything started to shift for me.
And this would have been November, December, January, coming into the first of last year. 2022. And then in walks this guy, first of last year, that was just like, I think I want to buy your building.
Right.
And we were like,
Old Town Conyers.
Oh Lord, we're not going to get to keep our building after all these years.
Well, thank
what
God.
Does this mean?
So here's the crazy thing. That day he comes in and he goes, I'd like to make an offer on your building. I heard through the grapevine that you guys might need to move out of the building. And it was just, obviously it was just a lot for us to handle. We knew that something had to change. And, but my heart sunk into my stomach.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't want to sell the building. I have an art studio upstairs.
Security level over the last year is unreal.
Yeah.
Like I've walked with a couple of guys through all of this that have been phenomenal to work with through it. And I've learned so much this last year about doing all of this stuff. It's been wild.
And
so,
go ahead, Chloe.
Well, so like from where you were before and like the internal things of like running Awake, like how is your perspective really shifted now being with like doing Lily and Sparrow and that being like more of like what you feel is like the call of your heart in this season of life and like you feel is like super aligned. So like how has that changed like how you're running the business?
So I can tell
or the
you
company
one thing,
so much.
The first thing I can think of is no longer do I feel like, how do I explain this? So in the beginning parts of Awake and throughout most of the time of Awake, it was a ministry. And so it had this underlying thing that was always, we are being used for God kind of a mentality, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
The transition from that, not that it was ever bad. I don't mean any disrespect to that season of our life at all.
No,
I'm just saying the major shift happened when Noelle and I said, no, this is going to be our family.
Yeah,
If I'm not doing it for the Lord, and I don't mean that in a negative way, I'm just saying if ministry is not the aspect that we're going to be focusing on, then the primary thing we need to be focusing on is family.
Right. Okay.
And so we went back to our girls and we said, look, if we don't want to do this, what do we want to do then? Because it's still us and our family.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And I think that's important. Like for the listeners, everybody to know is that like, it's not just Jason and I.
Mhm.
It's our daughter, Kara.
Right.
My grandkids can't wait till they get old enough to work in.
So
Obed
precious.
In
does
this store.
dishes.
Our youngest son does dishes and helps out when he can.
Yeah.
We have other.
Guinevere does a lot of our social media and is teaching with Isabel to do a lot of our media
Yeah,
stuff.
we have people. It's
So-
and they're people that are close with us. Our whole philosophy when it comes to that is to work as a team but live as a family.
Yep.
We're going to be family.
Yeah.
And I think that that's the big thing. I think the focus, and I think that is ministry. Like that's a joy for me to be able to provide an opportunity for people to be employed in a place where they feel safe
Yes.
and loved
Yeah.
and important.
Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah.
I think the biggest difference was we didn't have an understanding of honor
Mm.
and
Mm.
order
Mm.
that we do now.
Yeah.
We really have such a bigger grasp on like what does it look to be a kingdom entrepreneur,
Right.
and that's the transition that we were really making. Was like we don't have to do this as a ministry. We can do this as a family who has
Right.
a business,
Right.
who has a heart to see a city loved and
Mhm.
changed and provided with amazing coffee.
Mhm.
And then another part of what we do is we actually work with churches
Mhm.
and ministries. We can do this now and help them reach their own communities with coffee.
Right.
So it's like, wait a minute, hold on. There's no lid. We can really see
Yeah.
what freedom looks like in our passion and
Yep.
in our excitement. And for me, it's like I feel so free to be able to communicate and tell people who we are. I love
Mhm.
being a girl boss. Like I love
Yeah.
being a girl boss. I love it.
Yeah.
It was so cool. One of our vendors that we get some of our products from,
Mhm.
they sent me a box and it was like for women to own, because to celebrate Women Owned Business
Mhm.
Month.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I got stuff. I got a gift box with a cute little hat that says Women Owned. And I thought,
Yes.
this is and Jason, like,
Yeah.
we put my name on the business because he's like, I don't care if I own it. And honestly, if you're a smart business person, it's a good tax break
Oh,
to have a
nice.
women-owned business. So
Oh, nice.
it was
Okay.
just cool. And then our daughter's part owner. We have other.
Well, that's so cool. I
some
didn't know
other-
that.
Yes,
I love that.
she's part owner, and we have 2 other owners that part owners. It's just fun as heck. I'm having a great time.
I love that.
I don't feel sad or drained
No,
or
listen,
exhausted.
Coffee's only one aspect of what we do.
Yeah,
Right.
now.
So the other aspect is her.
Mhm.
I know
it's-
she's talking about
it's
coffee a
me.
lot. That's mostly me, but with
Mhm.
her, her artisans and her
Mhm. Right.
food vendors and
Yeah.
the art and the people, the crafts and the things that people
Right.
make that she's been doing now for. She's done this for 8 years.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about that portion of it because are you guys still like coffee and arts community or
Yep.
no? Is
Still
that-
the
So-
coffee and arts community.
We
Okay.
are, but we officially incorporated as Lily and Sparrow Mercantile. We still thought we would be in the ministry kind of model, and we went, you know what? No, it's not it. And
Yeah.
God's so faithful in the process, like
Yes.
of giving us time to like really figure it out.
Mhm.
But when we decided to become a business, we said, okay, Lily and Sparrow Mercantile, and that word mercantile encompasses the idea of an artisan general store
Okay.
and
Yeah.
local products.
Okay. Yeah.
And it's old world,
Mhm.
and I'm an old soul.
Which was a big inspo for project. I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love turn of the century.
Yeah.
I just love the feel of slow
Yes.
and
Yes.
time. And so we took that word and we said, okay, what do we want to do? Well, we know that we're artisan coffee roasters. Jason does that really well. And I've been working with artisans, solopreneurs
Right.
for years. I've hosted a festival every year on Shop Small Saturday called Handmade Holiday Fest. And I've done that. I did that 9 years in Conyers. This year, in our new location, we actually have lawn. We have green space. So because we have the green space, we're going to be putting up tents and having a festival there.
Woohoo.
And the whole heart behind it is I want to give makers space to make,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? So
And
Because
make-
you
and
are
make money
also
at it.
a maker.
I am
Make money
also
out of it.
a maker. I'm
Right.
an author. I'm
Yes.
an artist.
Right.
And then I'm a whatever I want to do that day maker.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I just feel like if I can give space to makers so they can make,
Yes.
and we
Mm-hmm.
can celebrate their products either in our store or at a festival, they're creating resource. They're making money. They're supporting their husbands, their kids, their
Yeah.
lives. And we're seeing others benefit from what we've been given. And that's, so giving space is a
And
big deal to
isn't
me.
that ministry as well?
Oh,
you know,
110 million %.
like it's like our mindsets are being shifted on like what is actually like ministry, you know? Like you don't have to be
Well-
doing it like in this super traditional way, like helping artists create and have an impact on the world. Like that's a big deal. Like you creating
Yeah.
that space.
So I'm grateful for the transition. I'm grateful for the new revelation. I'm super
Right.
grateful for where we are right now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited to be able to do that and work with artisans and creatives. And, this is getting settled in to this.
Mhm.
And then, there's other things coming down the pipe. We'll see later.
Yeah, that's what she's gained over the last couple of years. Is like because she would have been in the shop every single day
Mhm.
prior to our transitioning, and she
Right.
was doing everything, and then coming home and still on her computer or whatever, and I'm doing work and
Yeah.
all of this.
We
And
actually
so
don't know how we're still alive.
Yeah, I'm
the shift is so
curious
drastic, but it took
how
the
you're
Lord 3 years to do
functioning.
it. But it's so drastic of a change. It just felt like now it feels like a blink of an eye.
Yeah.
But a year ago, I would have told you, "My God, this is never going to end."
Yeah.
And probably 4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago, I think we were sitting on that mat over there crying, ready to sell the
Next to the
roaster I was
roaster.
done.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and we've been on the verge of everything. So, I mean, I told everybody earlier, I was like, we've told people so close for so long, we don't even know what so close means.
Yeah.
And then when it's done, I feel so at peace.
Yeah.
At
Like
rest.
coming in here because I knew it's been a journey.
Yeah.
So like being able to like sit in here today and come in here earlier this week and just like see it all done and like it brought me so much joy. And then thinking back, last year whenever we did this project and just kind of like imagining what this all could look like. And it looks different than what we thought, but like
Yeah.
but also like the essence is still the same. Like
Oh,
the
absolutely.
heart is still the same. Like it's just different location and different, what we thought initially. But like, and you being in Covington, like that was,
Yeah,
That
I think that was
transition was
probably the
Yeah.
last letting go for me, was letting go of a city we've been in for 10 years.
right. Yeah.
That we love.
Right.
Conyers, we love you. We love you with our whole hearts.
We're
But-
thankful, and we're doing more in
You've
Conyers
done-
soon. I'm telling you.
We
You've done so
love-
much, and everyone. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No.
You're okay.
But so many people have so many good things to say about you and Conyers. Just like
Yeah.
I've heard so many. Anytime I mention
Aw.
y'all, people are just like, "Oh my gosh, they're so amazing!" They do so much for the community. Da, 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 da. So you're amazing.
Well, what I love though is, I was scared. Honestly,
Mhm.
when we said we found this building, we knew this was it. It has 2 roll-up doors, so
Yeah.
kind of a big yes for us. We were like, this is it.
Yeah.
And I was afraid at the reaction of this city that we'd been in and
Mhm.
we'd served. And I cannot tell you,
It's been awesome.
it's been overwhelmingly amazing. Everybody's celebrating it. They're so grateful. They're coming. In fact, the Rockdale County Chamber of Commerce and the Newton County Chamber of Commerce is doing a dual ribbon cutting for us on April 20th.
Oh my gosh.
We're doing it together,
Oh yay.
which to me is just,
That's
such-
so sweet.
it's a deep thing in my heart to see both
Yeah.
cities come together.
Yes.
That's been a deep thing in my heart for a long time.
Yeah.
I'm a history nerd, and Dr. Conyers, who started Conyers,
Okay.
the city of Conyers, is actually from Covington. He was a doctor in Covington. And so to be able to see even just a prophetic sign or like moment of like
Yeah.
2 cities coming together to do something together.
Yeah.
Because we've been here a long time.
Mhm.
And there's always like this, Covington, Conyers. And I'm like, no, how
Mhm.
about we can just be sister cities and love each other?
Yeah.
And so it's so significant for me.
Wow.
It's a really big deal for me.
Yeah,
for
that's a
that to
really big
happen.
deal.
So I'm excited to see.
The street on the backside of our property is
It's-
Conyers
it's
Street.
Conyers,
so
yeah,
it's like,
Right, that's so
Can't get away
sweet.
from
What a nice little.
But you know,
Little kiss.
we definitely sometimes things are for seasons, and I would
Mhm.
just encourage anybody that is in a transition in their business,
or it feels like a
or it feels
transition.
like a transition.
Sometimes it just feels
Like,
like it.
it's
Or
okay to
just
let go.
constant
Or constant
changing.
It's okay to let go of things. Like, it's okay to
Yeah.
let things fall sometimes and see what happens.
Yeah,
Because
it's a big deal.
for us, it's just made it better. Let
Yeah, we
things
have
go.
definitely had to. I tell you what, somebody said to us, listen, you're going to have to carry this entire process with an open hand.
Mm.
Yep.
Because the Lord's
Mhm.
going to have to take things out and put things in. And if you sit there trying
Right.
to hold on to everything, He can't put what needs to be in
Right.
your hands in your hands. And
Yeah.
that's just been the whole thing that we've been walking through. It's like, I think Mark said it to us. He's like, look, you can't just hang on to stuff just for the sake of hanging on to it. You know,
Yeah.
there's going to be these moments where He's just going to have to ebb and you're going to have to be comfortable with something being taken and given and taken and given.
Yes.
And sometimes you get the same thing put back in your hand changed.
Yeah.
It's completely different.
Good point, because something that I have struggled with in my own business is like I have to have all the answers all the time. And I mean, technically, yeah, like I am the CEO of my business. So like
Oh, man.
I do have to have the answers, but also like I don't just do this alone. I do this with the Lord, and I also have people around me
Yeah.
that I trust. And that's something that I say a lot is like, you should never do business alone, because you shouldn't do life alone
No,
in general.
it's a big deal.
Even like marriage, like parenting, like sometimes, and I said this on a past podcast, but sometimes people are forced to have to do those things alone. And that sucks. Like
Yeah.
no one should have to. But ideally you should be surrounded by people, because you don't need to be the smartest person in the room, right? Like you
Right.
need to surround yourself with people that think differently than you,
Absolutely.
you know, that know more than you about a certain subject or what have you. So
Yeah.
like not having all the answers, the open hand, I love that like analogy, because I think we hold ourselves back a lot of the time if we just think, if we get like almost kind of prideful. It's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I have to have all the answers. I have all the answers.
Doesn't mean that you don't trust your gut, and when you feel something, you go after it.
Right,
That's what
totally.
makes us
That's
entrepreneurs.
different.
That's
Yes,
what
that's
makes
diff-
us. I'm not
yes.
saying sit back and like
Yeah.
wait.
No,
on
no,
the
no,
Lord.
no,
I'm
no.
not saying
Yeah,
that. I'm just
yeah.
saying you move forward, but He's going to take things in and out of your hands, and He's
Mhm.
going and in timing too. It's
Right.
so weird. It's like finances never came for this entire endeavor until it was time for finances to come,
Mm.
and it was almost like, yes, we did our job. Yes, we did our work. Yes,
Yeah.
we did everything that we were already doing. We didn't change anything. We had to
Mhm.
modify and learn and all these different things, but finances will come.
Yeah.
That's the joy of entrepreneurship. I
Mm.
honestly believe that
Yeah.
100% is
Mm.
walking through stuff and going, no, I'm going to make money at this.
Mm.
First off, I'm going to make money at this. I love what I do. I'm so thankful for it, but I'm an entrepreneur because I
Yes,
say I'm
that-
going to make money at what I love doing.
Right.
Right.
Yes.
That's what makes me that.
And I think
Yes.
that's a big deal too, because like it's okay to make money.
Yes.
It's okay to charge what you're worth.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
You know, fine. Do market research. See what
Right.
where the market's at. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
But even us coming here, there's other coffee in this city.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So did I do my market research
Mm-hmm.
and go, what are they selling for?
Yeah.
This and that? Yes. But I am not ashamed of the fact that we have artisan roasted coffee here.
Right.
And there may be a few items that we're going to go, well, we're going to charge a little bit more for that.
Yeah.
Why? Because we are doing it right here
Mm-hmm.
on site.
Right.
We are talking to people. We're educating people about not just coffee, but, Georgia. We're a Georgia-grown specialty food store now.
Yes.
So we're able to educate about the
Mhm.
farms locally and
Mhm.
different artisans and bringing in different, and we want to be that. So might it cost a little bit more for that experience? Absolutely. Is it worth it? 110%.
Yes. Yeah.
I think a lot of times entrepreneurs are sometimes afraid to charge what they're worth
Mm-hmm.
because they're afraid, well, I might not get a client.
Right.
But you're going to get the clients you want.
Yes. Yeah.
And so the city's big enough for all of us. And there are coffee people here that want coffee
Yes.
in the way that we do it.
Right.
So I'm excited about that. And I'm excited for all of the other businesses that
Yeah.
have coffee in our city.
Yes.
It's
It's like if you really don't have a competition,
No.
if you
No.
can lean into what makes you different.
Absolutely.
Because then, and this is what I tell my clients. I'm like, this is why it's important to pursue a brand that is uniquely you and uniquely like infused with your mission, your values, your purpose, because that is what sets you apart in a saturated market. You know, whatever it is that you do, like, you need to be able to lean into what makes you different, because then you really don't have a competition.
Yeah, 100%.
Because there's no one else like you. But a lot of people are scared because they're so focused on what other people are doing, and they have like this cutthroat kind of like mentality when it comes to business. And it's like, well, I mean, like, I'm friends with so many different brand designers, and not one of them do I think is my competition.
No.
Not one, because I
How
mean,
often do you learn
maybe
from
technically they are, but like, I don't care.
them?
Like,
How often do you
doesn't
learn from
matter.
them, though?
Yeah.
You learn from them all the
Oh,
time
totally.
because you honor and respect what they're doing as
Yeah.
much as they probably do you. And
Yeah.
so you actually you'll
Yeah.
see things that you wouldn't normally see.
Yeah.
When I go and taste coffee at places and I go and visit coffee shops, or I go, because I still do that all the time. I'm not going to not drink coffee.
Yeah.
If I'm out somewhere, I'm looking up the best coffee shop I can go to, or as many coffee shops. Sometimes I'll go to 2 or 3 of them if it's a pretty decent
And I'm always
city.
looking at where can I shop to find local stuff. So
we do what we love. You know what I'm saying?
I think
So-
the most unique thing about Lily and Sparrow now, where we're at
Oh,
and
yeah.
everything, and having to change the name, that was a great idea. Getting in a new space, great idea, because what
Yes,
it did
fresh.
fresh,
Mhm.
and it, Jason has his roastery man cave, like, and he can
Love it.
have guys will sit at the bar and just listen to him, and he'll talk, and they'll talk about roasting, and he gets to explain the nuances of all of that. And
Mhm.
I'm over here making things look cute and
Love
making
it.
sure that everything's organized
Mhm.
and like on
Finding all of the
shopping
vendors and
for my
shopping.
vendors. So it's a beautiful expression of Jason and Noelle,
Yeah.
Mhm.
where it's not just Jason, it's not just Noelle,
Mm.
it's literally us,
Yeah.
and our brand is us.
Yeah.
The Lily and the Sparrow.
Yes.
I am not the Lily, he is the Lily. And there's a whole story behind that, but there's this, because we're both strong personalities,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like we have our own beautiful identity in one
Right.
thing that represents who we are.
Yes.
So
And
So
that's been
good.
cool to discover all of that.
it's been a
Yes,
blast.
it's
And
been
I
fun.
don't, I mean, we didn't even have that revelation when we did our brand design. We just knew that that's what it was going to be. And we've discovered so much more since then.
What is something that you feel people misunderstand about what you do, or coffee in general, or however you want to take this question? But what do you feel is misunderstood, either about business,
Sure.
your specific business, who you are as entrepreneurs, however you want to take it?
Well, I feel like misunderstood. Some of the things that are misunderstood, I think, are the ways that people are expected to do business.
Mm.
This is something I think about and talk about a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Productivity is a huge thing in our culture. Consumerism is a big deal in our culture.
Right.
I'm not about it.
Mm.
People have come in here all week and they're like, "Oh, are you guys fully open?" And we're like, "We're open for with our espresso bar and drinks, and we have some, a few things out right now, but we're going to fill in the next 2 weeks." Most companies would be like, "You don't open the doors until your branding's on every single thing and
Mhm.
everything's just right
Mm-hmm.
and it's all perfect." And I don't think that's real. I think authenticity is a big deal to me.
Mm-hmm.
So, there's probably a misunderstanding in the business world about like, why are they doing it this way?
Mm.
Because we're not going to do it the way that everybody else does, because that's just what is expected.
Mm.
We're going to take it from a place of, for me, I'm going to take it from a place of being slow and
Mhm.
slow.
Mhm.
And
Low
it's
and slow.
low and slow. Yeah, low and slow. And it's okay for us to have a process even in front of the community.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
even in front of others, there's a discovery process.
There's
Yeah.
a process, and that's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. So, obviously, I think there's a million things that are misunderstood about coffee in general,
Yeah.
and about even, artisans and
Yeah.
makers in general. There's just not a lot of education when it comes to, why does this bar of soap cost me $7? Let me tell you why that bar of soap cost you $7. Why does this candle cost me $20?
Yeah.
Well, this candle is $20. Let me explain. Because it was hand poured by a woman who needed to supplement her income
Mhm.
because her husband has a disability that was
Mhm.
unexpected, and she needed to have a way to do something, and she decided to do it with joy. So you're supporting a real family.
Yes.
This is why your candle's $20.
Yeah.
It's also soy-free, cotton wick,
Yeah.
all natural. And quite frankly, in my opinion, should probably be $35, you know, for the amount of work. And people don't understand how much time it takes to go into the artistry of coffee.
Yeah.
Of
It's a really good word, the
makers.
process. I think she's right. She's hitting something because that goes into all aspects of things. Like artisans have a process of things. If you can respect the process, then you can respect the price, if that makes sense. If you can respect the process, you can respect the price. Coffee's the same way.
Yeah.
And I think there is a misunderstanding about coffee. It's kind of like thought that coffee tastes the same from every region. It tastes the same, but every season of every coffee of every region is different. Depending even, it comes down to how much rain they got that season. It can affect the nuances of the coffee. So you have to go through a process of development on every new season of coffee, no matter what. So I literally have a loss. The reason why a lot of coffee shops and a lot of the smaller roasters, craft roasters, we have a larger loss ratio. And so I have a loss of about 11 to 12% of coffee the minute that I bring in new coffee right into the door.
Wow.
So that they don't understand that everything has a process and then the value is in the process. So when I charge, $16 for a bag where at the grocery store it's $9 or $10, they've got to value the process that they're going through to create something creative for you.
And you're getting
authentically who they are.
But I think the biggest misconception I just want to address is dark roast, light roast, and medium roast.
Let's talk about
Let's
it.
just talk about it for a
Coffee
second.
for a second.
Coffee is a plant. All right, it's a seed. It comes from a cherry. It has different nuances and it has natural, beautiful regional flavors.
Because the dirt is different.
Because the dirt's different.
The dirt. Yes,
So,
okay.
for example, this is the easiest one to
atmospheres are
explain.
different.
I'll just go with my favorite coffee.
Okay.
All right, so Tanzanian pea berry.
Oh,
A
yes.
pea berry is a really interesting little coffee plant because there's only one seed inside of each cherry. Well, where other cherries may have 2 to 3 seeds. Well, that one seed inside of that one cherry for its entire little baby bean life is covered by this fruitness. This fruitness?
Fruitness.
Fruitness. That's
a
not
good
what it's
word.
sweetness from the fruitness. Sweetness from the fruit of the cherry.
Fruitness.
The fruitness.
I like it.
We're going to go with it. And so it's sucking in all the sweet.
Oh, wow.
And then when
The beans are usually
when
better.
it's dried, if it's naturally dried, which means they laid it out in the sun and it naturally just decomposed in the sunlight, and then it becomes this beautiful little green bean, and you roast it, it has this amazing natural sweetness if it's roasted properly. If you throw it in a roaster
If
and
you try
you
to
burn
take
it,
light, medium, or dark, you're probably not going to
you're
develop
going to
the
miss
flavor.
it. You're going to miss the flavor of this beautiful little bean. So what do? You take it through the process Jason's talking about.
Of developing
You find the right roast for that bean
of
and
that season
from
that area.
And then guess what you get? You get a cup of coffee that you do not have to add sugar to. Thank
Or
you,
cream.
Jesus. So for all the sweet coffee drinkers, when we get Tanzanian pea berry,
Okay.
Yeah, it's
you
good.
want to
Or an
check it out.
Ethiopian. You're
When do you get that? Because now I'm like,
Tanzanian usually I think I've got Tanzanian coming in right now on a boat, so probably June.
oh, wonderful.
Yes.
Coming right in on the boat.
Right in on the boat. And that's a whole other thing that people don't
When
know
you're a
about.
small craft roaster, I get fresh coffee 3 times a year. So
Yep.
I just want to say, I thinking about like how you create coffee, it's a nice little analogy to how I feel like branding should be done. Because like whenever you're talking about this specific little bean has to go through a very specific process for this little bean so that it will be its best self.
Yes.
develop
And-
its best flavor.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes,
Be
that's
its best
most
self.
authentic to it. Like it's still in the under the umbrella of coffee,
Absolutely.
but it's its own special bean. So you guys are your own little special bean
Your own special
in the
bean.
branding
That's for
world.
sure.
Um,
100.
We are definitely our own little
100%.
special food.
but seriously though, like that's That's like a perfect little analogy
It
for
really
how
is.
like I love to approach projects, because
Yes.
I'm like, yes, I have a framework for every client and it's pretty much the same across the board. But there's like these moments where we lean into like the uniqueness of you, and like your unique goals or whatever. And so anyway, it's a nice little way to think about it.
The coffee is definitely the same, because I use the same process for every single bean, no matter where it's from,
Mhm.
but they all develop differently.
Yeah.
And so when you're in that, and you're exactly right. And that's actually that's a remarkable way for marketing, period, if you can think of it in
Mhm.
that context of things.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because yes, does social media marketing work? 100%.
Yeah.
Does
Yes. Oh,
does
let's talk about it. Yes.
if social media marketing works, yes.
Yes.
Does paper print marketing work? Yes.
Yes.
Does mail outs work? Yes. Do
Mhm.
websites work? Yes. Can you just do one of them? No. You can't.
No, you need a
So-
mix. And you also need to understand what works for your unique
correct.
business.
Absolutely.
Because like print marketing for me doesn't really make sense right now. Like, I need to focus my efforts in a different way because I'm an online business mostly. I'm not super infused in the community right now. Maybe one day like I'll focus on that. But for right now, I have, I'm focusing efforts in another place. So like I need to understand what's going to work for me,
Who
what's
is
going to
your-
move the needle for me.
Well, I
or
need print
for-
because I'm working
Yeah.
I'm working in this local
Yeah,
community.
exactly.
I'm mailing stuff out. I'm hitting mailboxes.
Yeah.
I'm 100% with this type of environment
Yeah.
that I'm carrying here, and who I want to bring in here.
Mhm.
Oh, your mailbox is getting something.
Well,
And-
go ahead.
So,
Well, I would say, and another thing too for us, like if you have a brick and mortar, it blows my mind that businesses at brick and mortars don't engage with their local community chambers of commerce,
Right.
Oh, yeah.
or they don't get involved with the city of that
Mhm.
they're in.
Yep.
We have the tourism director showed up today of the city of Covington. We were like, this is an amazing marketing opportunity. So they got the tour. They know everything
Oh,
about
I love
it.
that.
We spent an hour of our morning talking to them.
Mm.
And she's already got all our contact information, because these are important ways to know what you need. We need the tourism directors to tell everybody that we're here.
Yeah.
And so we spent our time and our energy
Mm-hmm.
and dollars, because we get paid
Yeah.
too,
Right.
to do that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and so you're right. It absolutely matters.
You
And I
have-
think
yes.
that's huge for anybody that's a business owner. If you have a brick and mortar, please take the opportunity. It's worth the time to get involved with the local community.
Yeah,
It's a big deal.
totally. Yeah, I love that. I love talking about marketing because I don't know, I think there's just such a craze right now, especially with like TikTok and stuff, and like people are just like, "Oh, I just need to do TikTok, I just need to like that's the new thing." And it's like, "Well, I don't know. Like you need to sit down and like audit where people are hearing about you, like audit where your inquiries are coming from if you're a service-based, business, or like, find out like where your people are,
Absolutely.
and then use marketing to find to talk to
reach
them,
that group.
to reach them. Yeah.
Knowing who your clients are is a big
Oh.
big
But listen,
deal. And what-
casting a giant sea of marketing is not a good
Not a good
idea
idea.
either.
No,
so
no,
I
no,
don't
no,
believe
no.
in that.
Yeah.
I think you really have to niche
Yeah.
market. You need to find who you're marketing to, but
Yeah.
you go through a process of that sometimes. I know
Yeah.
we're sticking on that whole process thing, but
Yeah.
sometimes you've got to try multiple different things to see if anything
Yes.
is going to work.
Yeah, staying curious
So-
is that's kind of like
I
my
love that.
word for the
Ooh,
year.
I like
One of my
that.
words for the year is curiosity, because just like not thinking, again, going back to this, not assuming that I have all the answers,
No, right.
and just like being curious and see what happens. Like, let's try this and see what happens.
Right.
Doesn't work? Cool. All right, move on to something else.
Yeah, don't be afraid of that.
Yeah.
Please. Don't
Yeah.
ever be afraid of this didn't work.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Like, I mean,
It doesn't really matter. You're not going
Okay.
to remember it if it didn't work anyway.
right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Love that.
Yeah, I love that too. Yeah, you just gotta stay curious. What keeps you, like, whenever you guys were going through all the challenges of everything, what was the lighthouse in the storm? What inspired you to keep going, to stay motivated, and to pursue this dream that you had of Lily and Sparrow?
Oh my gosh, that's a great question. I mean, it's a really good, but like the second you said it, I knew my answer, and it was him. Some days it was him looking at me and going, "We can do this."
And then some days it was her looking at me going, you're chosen for this. This is what she would say.
You're
to
the
me.
man for the job.
You're the man for the job. You're chosen for this. This is you. You
This
can
is who
do
you
this.
are.
This is who you are. And like many of those days, that was what she would say to me.
It was
Wow.
reminding each other
Yeah.
of who we are.
Yeah.
And there's just it's a non-option. We're going to do this. And, even a few weeks ago when we were sitting on the floor, crying, he was quitting. And I was like, we can't quit. We're so close. And
Wow.
even we called for encouragement, and the encouragement was kind of like, well, if you feel like you want to quit, that's okay. We're like, what? Okay, you're going to give us permission to quit. Like, even having those people around us, sometimes you really just have to dig into each other or, remember, what is your why? Why are we
Yes.
doing this? So for
Yeah.
us, it was, we don't want to live, we're in our 40s, our mid 40s. We don't want to live any other way for the rest of our life.
Mm.
And we want to leave
Honestly,
something for our
honestly,
children.
I'm not going back to work for somebody else.
Yeah, it's like,
No.
what's the other option?
It's like the worst idea ever.
Corporate, no. Teaching, no.
Where am I gonna
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I'm just too. I mean, this is the perfect job for me because I like to bounce around and do different things.
Right,
So
yeah.
if I work for somebody else, it's going to be dreadfully boring for me. And
Yeah.
like it. Well, where does the evaluate? How's my mental?
Though we
my
did,
emotional
though we
health?
did evaluate that. And we wanted to do something now in this season of our life that was going to benefit our family in the long term.
Yeah.
Right.
So we're
yeah.
starting something that
You're
you know,
thinking long path.
we're
Big
thinking
time.
long path with
Yeah.
this, with our brand, with franchising, with future Lily Sparrows,
Right.
Yeah.
all of this. So we're thinking this is,
Mm.
as that.
But
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, to answer the question, I think for me it was definitely just
Yeah,
him.
us.
Us.
Wow.
We
Each
were
other.
the ones that kept each other
The
encouraged.
Lily and the Sparrow.
The Lily and the Sparrow.
Hey, we celebrated 24 years of marriage.
Woohoo!
February
a
6th.
month ago. So
Aw.
And
Big respect for y'all.
we looked at each other across the table, and we tears in our eyes, and we went, "Okay, we did it.
Yeah.
We made it."
Oh.
And so for this next year, we're planning our 25th wedding anniversary.
Absolutely.
We're going to renew our vows and have a big celebration, and
Yay!
it's a big deal. Like a lot of people don't get to say they've been married for 25 years, so
Wow.
we're proud and excited about that. But it's us and the Lord. I mean, obviously,
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. It's a given.
it's a given. But yeah, our very first day was that Monday. We're so tired.
Yeah.
Monday
Monday.
we opened together. We got up at 5:30 and we opened. And this great song by John Foreman came on, and before anybody was in the store, we just danced.
Which one was it?
It's a new
I
one.
don't know what it's called. It's
Uh,
something about
'Cause
snowflakes.
I love John. I love John.
It's
Foreman.
like a new song. It's him and his,
Isn't he? He has a new song. Huh?
I think it's him and his wife singing together.
Yeah.
Cute. Are you serious?
Yes.
Okay, I need to go look
it's
it
an
up.
older one.
And I
don't
think,
know.
is it older? I don't know. Anyway,
I
something
don't
about
know.
snowflakes.
Yeah,
It's
it's
just
really
the
cute.
sweetest.
It's you
Sweetest.
and me. Da, 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 da.
It's really peppy cute.
It's really
Cute.
cute.
And we just danced together in the store. And we
That's
were
our
like,
favorite thing.
This is it.
Whenever we feel just like frustrated or angry or happy or super happy, we just dance together.
Yeah.
I love that.
Marriage tip: dance together.
Dance together.
Okay. All right,
Dance
Aaron, get
together.
ready.
It's very
Get
important.
ready.
Aaron,
I love to dance.
just stop wherever you are, whatever's playing.
Let's go with
Just
that.
dance.
I've observed, from the outside, just seeing this whole process and, just like, obviously I've asked, how are things going? But there's only so much you can tell someone, like,
Yeah.
you're in it, I'm not in it. So I don't know the ins and outs of the journey of your journey with owning a business. But I do know that, there were some hard moments, but like, again, just so inspired. And I think for any business owner that thinks that like, oh, if I can just get to, 5 years, it'll be okay. Or, 10 years, whatever. It's like, this isn't to like discourage anyone.
Sure.
But it's more so to encourage you whenever you do hit those times of like, I'm going to burn this whole freaking thing down.
Yep.
And I don't care anymore. It's like, there is hope. Like, okay, you can feel that. Like, that's okay. That's valid.
Yep.
Go back to like why you're doing this and see if it aligns. But then also like, because you guys had that moment with Awake and you knew, okay, it's time to completely shift. But then with this last time, when it was like, it was hard, you knew you needed to push through.
Yeah.
And you knew that it's like, okay, we're almost there. So like, just like staying sensitive to where you're at in your journey, and obviously leaning into the Lord and leaning on others to support. It's a big deal.
And as much goal setting as you possibly can,
Mhm.
don't let the goal become the destination.
Yeah, ever.
The goal may be where
Okay.
you're directing things to, but that's almost never where you're going to actually land. It's
Mm.
going to be greater
Yeah.
or worse, but
Interesting, yeah.
you don't, and you're setting a cap for yourself if your goal has a definitive answer.
Yeah, I think
Mm.
That's something we don't do that.
we don't do goal
we
setting.
don't do goal setting.
We
Now
do-
we have direction,
Yeah.
and we know where we want to be, but we don't.
Intentions. I think some
intention-
people
that's a
call
good
it
word.
setting like intentions, not goals.
I like that.
Yeah, I like
Yes.
that too. Yeah.
and yeah, we're all, I think we're practical idealists,
That's a good word.
Yeah.
right? I think
Yeah.
that's a really, once
I love that.
you're in business for a while,
Yeah.
it's a really healthy place to be, is to be a practical idealist. So
Yeah.
get idealistic about dreaming and get excited about all of those things, and and then be practical about what is actually workable in that moment.
Yeah.
I think a lot of I've seen so many people that have big dreams and they try to go for it,
Mm.
and then it doesn't work out the way that they think,
and then they stop.
and then it's
Yeah.
quits, and I'm
Yeah.
like, whoa, no,
Mm-hmm.
no, you don't do that. What my mom told me. My mother was an operations manager for a major company.
Mm-hmm.
She started. They had 5 stores when she started working for them. They ended up with 14. My mom, she was just amazing.
Wow.
She's such an inspiration to me as
Oh.
a woman in business, and she was in a very male dominated business. It was amazing to see that.
Wow.
And so that was kind of my inspiration. But my mother would tell me, she's like, put your big girl panties on. Like, just get it
Yes.
together.
Yeah.
Don't quit.
Yeah.
Try something different.
Yeah.
It's okay to shift, but don't, if you have a dream, learn how to become practical
Yeah.
in your idealism so that you can give yourself a break. Because I think a lot of times as entrepreneurs, we're our own worst enemies
Yes.
when we feel like we fail.
Yes.
Especially when
Like,
you
I'm
But-
just,
but-
where's the measuring stick? Who's measuring me anyway?
Oh, so true. So true. And like one of the things that I love is like failure is not the opposite of success. It's a part of success. Like that quote. I don't know who said it. It's
I
floating
love that.
around.
Whoever it was, they're
Whoever it
really
was,
smart.
thank you.
Very
That
smart.
whoever said that, because like seriously, you have to fail to be successful. You really have to have that grit to get through that. To come to that realization. And believe in yourself, because at the end of the day, because like when you called this person, you're like, what do? We want to quit. And they're like, if you want to quit, quit. Okay. So, but then like you have to want it more than anybody else.
That's it.
Yep.
Like that person couldn't want it for you. You had to want it.
And that's right.
You had to, and I feel like in that moment you realize like you stepped into a character building moment
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
in your
a
story.
maturity. It's definitely a maturing
Big
moment.
Yes,
time.
Yeah.
where you had to say, I want this, even if you give me permission to quit, I want this. And so I'm going to push through and do it.
And that was really what it was.
I don't know that I had the answer right then. Just
Yeah.
FYI.
No,
I had to go for a
of
walk.
course,
I had to go for a walk.
he went for a while. He went for a mad walk, and when he came back, I was like, "Are you better?" He's like, "No, I'm still mad." And I was like, "Okay." And then he's like, "Well, what do you want to do?" And I looked at him and I said, "Just one more day.
Yeah.
Let's just do this for one more day. Just
Wow.
one."
Yeah.
And it was the day before our soft open that happened.
Yep.
And we did this little soft open where we just put a curtain up behind
Yeah.
here just to get people in the community to, hey, we're here. And honestly, the truth of the matter is we needed to make some money those next 2 weeks to meet payroll. Sometimes
Yes.
it
Yes.
just be like that where you're
Mhm.
like, I can't pay
Of
anybody.
course. Of course.
And we did. And it was almost like that moment of going one more day.
Mhm.
And then that next day we looked at each other and we said, okay, this was a good day.
Mhm.
Do we want to do it one more day?
Mm.
Okay, let's do it one more
Yeah.
day. And then all of a sudden the reality of our brand came alive in my heart
Mm.
because
Mhm.
the Lily and the Sparrow
Yeah.
is based on Matthew chapter 6. And it says, don't worry about what you're going to eat or drink or what you're going to wear.
Right.
Because that is not up to you, really. That's my paraphrase. He's like, I got this.
Right.
Seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you.
Right.
And don't worry, because every day has enough worries of its own.
Right.
And I just, that reality of why God gave us that name, that brand, sat in my heart. And I was like, we literally don't have to worry. And we're just going to take this one day at a time. And instead of that just being a nice thought, it became a real reality in our lives. And I feel like that's what we're going to carry with us through this entire process. And we've had great days ever since then. Even though there's been some hard ones, we just kind of looked at each other and went, okay, well, are we going to do this one more day?
Yeah.
We're going to do this one more day.
Yeah.
So.
Wow. There's so much hope. There's
Yes.
So much hope. There's always hope somewhere. You just have to kind of like zoom out, find a higher perspective when you're just so in it.
Yeah, you definitely got to get the 30-foot view, the 30,000-foot view sometimes.
Yeah.
Get off that flight deck.
We need all of those understandings, and when you're in business.
What do you feel like is next?
Rest. Honestly, we're going to get this place open.
We're going to be celebrating for
We're
a
going to
little
be
while.
celebrating. We feel like we're going to be in a season of celebration. We're going to get out. We're going to fill this space with beautiful things and roll up the doors, and we're going to party.
Are you going to have like a grand opening?
We are.
Is it going to be grand?
It's going to be very
I
grand.
hope so. I hope it's going to be grand. We're going to do the ribbon cutting on April 20th. So I've got a friend who is a balloon artist, and I love her dearly. So she's probably going to make some pretty balloons and put those out, and we'll invite some things. And then we're looking at
the last week of April, I think is what you were saying.
Yeah. We'll do our first festival in May, which will be like our big, like, hey, Covington, if you didn't find out about us yet, here we are. But we're just going to kind of do like a month-long, like, celebration, grand opening.
Yes.
Month-long throwdown. And
we deserve it. And I love a good party.
Celebrate. And we're just going to rest in what we're doing
We're
for
going
the
to
season.
rest and celebrate.
Just be patient about what's next.
And once we feel like we're okay to step out, we're going on vacation.
Oh, yes. How can people find you, connect with you?
Best way, I tell everybody, is Instagram's our best way to connect.
Yes.
So it's just at Lily like the flower, Lily, Sparrow like the bird, CO. So at Lily Sparrow Co.
Okay.
Online at lilyandsparrow.co.
Okay.
And then Facebook is just Lily and Sparrow Mercantile. So.
And are you also on TikTok too?
We.
The girls have one that they tease me with all the time.
We have a TikTok. Okay, so we're also really smart entrepreneurs in the way that, like, we outsource what we don't know how to do.
That's right.
So we do not know how to. I don't social media that much.
Yeah.
So we have a social media, but yes, we are on TikTok. And if I can get that from Isabel, the
Lily
most beautiful,
Sparrow.
amazing person.
It's Lily Sparrow Co. It's the same way.
Okay,
Is
sweet.
it?
Same way.
Are you sure?
They should all be matching.
Anyway, we TikTok apparently, but I don't TikTok. So we have Instagram, Facebook, we have TikTok, and then online.
Yay.
And then obviously at 1177 Reynolds Street, Southwest Covington, Georgia.
Yay.
1177
30014.
Yes.
And also we
Best
have
coffee in town.
We have a kiosk inside of Piedmont Rockdale Hospital
Right.
on Millstead Road in Conyers still.
Yay.
So, and then we've got some other cool things coming for Conyers.
Yay.
Can't talk about it yet.
We like a tease.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yep.
Well, it's been an honor and a privilege talking with y'all. Thank you for taking the time to sit down with me, and you mean so much to me, and I'm really, really proud of you. And I think this was inspiring for a lot of different people, touched on a lot of different things. So, yeah, unless you guys had anything else to say, you good?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh.
Thank you for inviting us into this process. It's really sweet for us to be able to be here right now. So
Yes.
thanks.
Yeah, I love this whole rebranding process from the beginning has been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's been wonderful.
We have had a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
Well, I'm glad that I know that it was a practical need for business, but also it was deeply a heartfelt need too, and
Really
for
is.
y'all. So represents a lot, and I was glad we were able to talk about it and kind of give a little bit behind the scenes of like what Lily Sparrow really is.
Yes.
So
Thanks,
yay. All right, love y'all. Thank you.